Following the suspension of accreditation and evaluation of degree certificate from Benin Republic and Togo, the federal government has said sanctions will be extended to some more countries like Uganda, Kenya, and Niger Republic. The Minister of Education, Tahir Maman, made the revelation yesterday, Wednesday, on a television political program. If you recall, an undercover journalist with daily Nigerian newspaper had detailed how he acquired a degree from the university in Benin Republic under 2 months, and in fact used it to be deployed for the National Youth Service Corps, prompting the federal government to immediately suspend accreditation of certificates from the 2 Francophone West African nations, and also launch a probe, which the minister said yesterday the report will be submitted in 3 months' time. Tahir Mama also gave hints that security agents will be made to go after Nigerians with such fake certificate from foreign universities, already using them to secure opportunities in the country. As much as many Nigerians are in tune or agreement with the stand of the federal government, many still wonder why it had been going on for many years, undetected, until when an undercover reporter had to blow up the lid. And why will the National Youth Service Corps permit persons that got a degree in just 2 months to be part of a program after furnishing them with all the needed details? Is indeed a big question on a big story for today. Well, this and more as it concerns Nigerian getting foreign certificate in universities is what this edition of the big story is all about, and that is federal government suspension of degree certificate from some foreign universities. And that's what we're having as a major discourse today on the big story. We're talking about federal government suspension of degree certificate, especially as it concerns some foreign universities. To truly help us talk about this, which we feel is indeed timely, knowing that it seems to be always changing. And we're talking about the dynamics as it concerns federal government's approach to that very undercover report, indicating that most foreign universities, issue certificates that are quite questionable. But anyway, we will be answering the questions right here with us, and I'm talking of no other person but my guest is a public affair analyst and also a lecturer of the Delta State University, Uzoro, and I'm talking of no other person but Ambassador Raymond Ube. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning, Michael Ray. Nice to have you around.
Well, anyway, it's not a nice reaction, especially as it concerns what's playing out, and many persons are indeed alarmed and a bit surprised also, considering what's happening. But as much as I would love to get your reaction from the federal government suspension of such degrees from the universities, I'd rather want us to first start by asking, how did it get undetected for many years? It's a big question. Or how was it also, let me rephrase my question, or how was it also allowed to go on for many years? Because as the minister said yesterday, most of the institutions have been operating for more than a decade, and will have Nigerian University Commission saddled with the responsibility of looking at all of this. So who should take the fall for all of this that is only coming to light after an undercover reporter had to do the story?
All right, I think I have to come in this way, Michael Ray. When you say it came in undetected.
Yeah, for many years.
For many years. I don't want to align with you in that thought.
So you feel many people knew?
Well, number one, this has been detected. That means some certain quarters are working.
Okay.
Then number two, only in 2019, in Taraba, in Kano, in Nasarawa, about 69 core members were detected with fake results, with fake degree results. And most of them were jailed. Some of them were made to pay fine. So I don't want to align with you by agreeing that
so it has been in public space, that's what you're saying?
Yes, okay. The NYC has been doing something about it. Okay. In fact, when I served in Kebbi State in 2009 and 2010, there was a young man who was also apprehended with fake result.
Okay.
He was taken to the police and he was prosecuted.
But talking about foreign institutions giving these results, that's where my question
In
is.
fact,
How was it allowed to happen like this for so long?
In fact, out of the 69 persons that were comprehended in that 2019 report, almost, let's say 80% of them were from foreign institutions. And again, because of that very incident, the same 2019, about 20,000 personnel mobilized for NYC, uploaded their document for NYC.
And the NYC officials looked at it that the issue is becoming rampant, it's becoming too common, and they adopted a way to actually put sanity, inject sanity into the system. What happened? They said, okay, before you got mobilized, you have to come to our office for physical verification.
Okay.
You have to bring your passport. Let us know when you entered the school and let us know when you left the school.
Yeah.
You have to bring your original certificate.
Okay.
They mentioned a lot of credentials for
that
you
were needed.
that were needed for you to submit. Then you have to submit yourself personally to the Minister of
Interior Affairs. Do you know what? Do you know the result? Out of the 20 persons that were mobilized, only 3,400, yes, 3,400 appeared. The remaining persons absconded because of their ulterior motive.
Okay, now, if this has been in public space, why did the federal government only take a decision day before yesterday to put suspension on most of these foreign institutions?
You know the black man phenomenon. The black man phenomenon. We love fire brigade approach. And we want to wait until the roof is upon our head before we act. This is just a very big problem to black man and black organizations and black leadership. Fire brigade approach. If not, the certificate saga, it has been a long way. It has been a black history in our record. Now look at minister. Well, I can count ministers upon minister. Of course, we will get there.
We'll
get there later.
Yeah.
Is it Kemi Adiosu? Is it Shitu, Minister of Finance in the time of
the first tenure of President Buhari?
Then we also have Shitu, and we have Hassanu, or what was her name? That was screened before, then screened recently. Of course, we will visit their cases later. So this issue has been on ground. So this laxity in governance, we don't want to take the bull by its horn. We just want to let everything fall upon our head. We let everything become so bad before we
take a stand.
Before we take a stand, and before you know that, we had black image. So
okay, now,
it's not.
Now, as much as you've addressed that, I'm still a bit curious that how did we get here? That we're having our children get certificate from countries or universities in countries like Togo, Benin Republic, Uganda,
Côte d'Ivoire,
and even Niger Republic,
Ghana.
Yeah, so I'm a bit confused.
Chad.
Chad. How did we get here? Is it that our universities, the standard had fallen, and that's why people are running there, or is it an issue of not hitting the required numbers? Because, for example, in 2023, we had 1.16 million candidates sit for the JAM exam. And they were only jostling for university slots that were less than 600,000 for 2023. So is it that where our universities are not able to take the required numbers, that's why we have them going there? Or is it that the turmoil in our universities, when we talk about strike, talk about the care of infrastructures, it's always so paramount. So let me understand why our children preferring to go to universities in countries that, forgive my language, that we feel we're having better off than Togo, Niger, Chad. So what happened? How did we get here?
Now, I will answer your questions in brief.
Okay.
Number one, how did we get here? You see, a country that places so much emphasis on certification. This is why we get here. This is how we got here. A country, we place so much emphasis on certification.
So whichever country we get it from, certificate is certificate.
Qualification.
Yes.
Certification, qualification. We just want to see that we place so much emphasis on title. This is how we got here. Then we look at the whole scenario. We look at issue of tribalism. We look at issue of, in our common parlance, man no man.
Okay.
So then we look at it, if your uncle is in a position to influence your employment and you don't have this certificate, what do you do? What do? You have to get the certificate by all means, because it is all about certification. So the Nigeria context is not placing emphasis on skill development. If you travel abroad, we will look at your certification. If you like, purchase the certificate, get the certificate through the back door. When you get to in some certain when you get to some certain countries, nobody will look at your certification. Nobody will ask you what is your degree. They will look at you, what can you do? What solution can you solve here? So we are employing people. We are placing more emphasis on people who cannot provide solution, but we are looking at people who have so much title. And that is why everybody is going for the title. Everybody is hustling for the certification. Everybody is hustling for the qualification. See it, when we remove this very emphasis on certification and put it on what can you do, you discover that these things will go down. And we also look at it when we begin to promote people based on certification instead of based on excellence, instead of based on what you have to offer. When we begin to promote people based on how long you have stayed in this place, you discover that these things will begin to pressure the system. We begin to pressure those who don't have this certification to go through the shortcut to have it, because irrespective of how they get it, because their promotion is dependent on it, because their employment is dependent on it, because their placement in the system, in the society, in industry, in politics is dependent on it. So they will just do anything to get it. And of course, he who pays better, get it better. That is how it is sometimes in some systems in this.
Well, anyway, it's a sad reality, as you just stated, and looking at that very drama that seems to be unfolding. It's unfolding because,
it's terrible.
Yeah, because just a day before yesterday, the guy blew the lead.
Yes.
Yesterday we saw the government put a ban on 2 universities.
18.
In 2 countries, Benin and Togo. Now even extending it to Uganda, Kenya. We know Niger is in part of it, and well, it seems.
Sorry to intrude.
Yeah.
There are some universities, foreign-owned universities in Nigeria.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, foreign-owned universities in Nigeria. There are some in Lagos, others in the western part, others in the eastern part, even in the north.
Yeah.
Most of them have been
affected.
Yes,
also.
have been affected.
Anyway, but let's continue with it, because I'm also a bit critical as it concerns the students that have been there already and that will be taking a hit from the ban that the federal government has placed on these. And because of that, the National Association of Nigerian Students pleaded with the federal government yesterday not to take a blanket ban on these universities, so those innocent ones will not be caught in the crossfire. But the minister yesterday took a harsh stand and tone to that very request of NAS. And the minister even said that these students are not victims, but criminals, as being a part of it. Now, do you feel that is the case? And I need to know also how you feel about this suspension being placed on these universities from the federal government.
Now, let me come this way. The fact that somebody get drowned in the pool, in the swimming pool, does not mean that the swimming pool should be abandoned.
Okay.
The fact that there are some there are some elements
Yes.
who they have labeled them criminals. These people are soiling the name of the school by doing certificate racketeering.
Yeah.
Does it mean that there are no good students, foreign students, that are going there, study hard, read their books, pay school fees, stay for 4 years, and acquire good certificates in that place? Of course there are.
So they should not take the heat also.
So why should you punish those good students?
But like he said yesterday, he feels they are not victims but criminals.
Who is not a victim now?
The students.
All
That's
the
what he
students
said.
attending the school.
But that's what the minister said
That is a
yesterday.
hasty generalization. That is why I said, see, our administrative system, I don't know how we function. I don't know what is happening. Now, I'm a lecturer in the university. I also attended a university, my first degree in Ekpoma, my second degree in Abraka, and my third degree in one of the federal universities in Nigeria. In all my stay in the university, we have students who engage themselves in exam malpractices.
Of course.
Now, in one of the exams, I sat and I wrote and I quoted one of my students. He was caught red-handed with paper during our MSc exam. What happened? Was the examination nullified? No. But he was suspended. In fact, he was rusticated from the program. He was asked to withdraw from the program.
So it should not be a blanket approach.
Did they ask all of us to withdraw from the program?
No, of course
because
not.
somebody was okay. Now let me agree that there are some collaborators.
Yes.
There are people, because the issue of the journalist, the investigator,
Umar.
Yes, Umar Awudu. What happened? There are collaborators right from the immigration office to the institution, then even back again to the NYC. It's a chain reaction. Does it mean that there are no people, there are no good students who are also passing through the process? The fact that there are collaborators, they just have to also investigate, fish out the bad eggs, and remove them from the system.
So rather than putting a blank
pronouncement on everybody, because you don't allow your own to rub my own, it is unacceptable.
So rather than say they are criminals, or rather, he said yesterday that they are criminals and not victims, and he has no sympathy, as he said,
on the school?
Yeah, on the students that the bans have come to, especially as it concerns those universities that are issuing this certificate. Because he said, well, because he was asked the question, but some students also acquire their own genuinely.
Of course.
But he said, well, for him, they are not victims but criminals.
That is unthoughtful and unstrategic.
Okay, anyway, we'll have a strategic approach to it. We'll plead with you to hold on first. Okay. We need to go on a break now. But when we come back, we'll continue our discussion centered on the recent ban placed on some universities, foreign universities, that are issuing certificate after that investigative journalism journalist that came up with a report saying that he graduated and got a degree in 2 months. That means his 100 level was in 2 weeks, his 200 level was in 2 weeks, his 300 level 3 weeks, and honestly, 400 level and also project defense was done in a week. But anyway, we'll do more of the discussion. Let's go on the break and we'll come back and have more of it.